Well, you saw what that bridge looked like when I pulled it off, so this is what we've got now. Cleaned up the mess on the underside, got a beautiful radius on the foot of that bridge, and it will glue on perfectly. So this is what we're faced with. This is like filled in with a Bondo or something. I'm going to show you how we do this here. We're going to set up, we're going to skim route that, we're going to fill that in with wood. When we're done, we'll have 100% intimate contact between the underside of the bridge and the soundboard. Pretty radical stuff, but otherwise this thing would be tossed in the garbage. You saw this at the beginning of the video. Well, as you've probably gathered watching this, extreme damage requires some pretty extreme measures. Well, I got rid of all that epoxy. Now we're going to have wood to wood. Now there's a little tiny bit of a void in here, but I can't risk going any deeper. This soundboard is much thinner than a steel string soundboard. So this biscuit is just slightly proud of the original surface all the way around. But this is going to give us a much better and much more intimate contact between the resurfaced bridged foot and the surface of the soundboard. So here's what we got. We got hot hide glue. And we've got our insert all ready to go in. And that will fill that void completely. I have a piece of foam. It's like a foam gasket and a lead weight. And that's what we're using to clamp that on. So we'll let that sit for a couple hours. Okay, what I have here is a Tatay Spanish classical guitar. Ultralight construction, super fragile. I am doing a complete refret on this. Among other things, I did that bridge reglue. I want to show you how I deal with this. So let me just take this off. So under here, I do have the neck strap down. This is the GPS unit. I've got a buckshot bag underneath the Spanish foot. Anybody that knows the real deal Spanish classical guitars, the heel and the foot inside and the support underneath the soundboard are all one piece of mahogany. It's all integrated. The sides are received into the slot in the side of the heel / neck block. When I'm putting those upper frets in, I have this lead puck that I hold underneath. Then I tap the frets in with that 1 pound dead blow plastic hammer. It's wide enough that it doesn't get in between the frets and dent the fingerboard, and it seats the frets firmly. When I get to this point, I'll remove the leather shot bag and then just set it aside. Now I'm depending on the pivoting neck assembly with the telescopic blocks to support the neck while I put the rest of the frets in. When I get into a situation where the fret is a little too tight in the slot, I have blunted a pair of end nippers, and what I do is I feed them through here and just sort of crush the bead a little bit and then bring it back the other way. Same idea. We get a nice mechanical fit without putting undue force to drive the fret home. I've got all these frets pre-cut, and if you'll notice, I don't have any overhang. I just have a slight little bit, a few thou protruding beyond the end of the fingerboard, so that when I do my edge dress, there's zero chance of jarring those frets loose on the outside edge, which is typically where they do loosen up. What you're looking at here is my rough tolerance. So it doesn't take a lot of force to drive that home. Beautiful. And that's how I do my refret. I don't necessarily crush the bead to reduce the size of the tang every fret job. Usually with ebony fingerboards, which are quite a bit harder than rosewood, I will do that, sort of crush the bead slightly. And you just sort of get a feel for it and feel how the fret goes in. You'll see when I drive that fret in, I don't have to reef too hard on it. It's just a gentle tap all the way across. I've got all the frets jammed into this piece of foam, and I'm just snapping them up as I go. So all of these frets, in this instance, I am crushing the bead a little bit. This gives me an absolutely flawless, beautiful mechanical fit. No super glue, no adhesive. For anyone who's been watching my channel, you know that I'm big on getting a mechanical fit. Not big on gluing frets in. But this is the one exception to that rule where I do actually glue the fret in. This side, same deal. And that's it. Fret job complete. When I'm leveling the frets on a classical guitar, there's no adjustment for the neck. I never touch that first fret. If it's a little bit too high, that's a good thing. This is where you need a good tough cloth sandpaper. Regular paper stuff just gets shredded when you try this. So I've got 400 grit here, and that's what I'm starting with. That's better. We're ready to buff this out now. Okay, now we've got a nice, crisp, clean saddle slot. We'll fit that new saddle, and this guitar will be good for many years to come. Well, this Tatay guitar is done. Complete refret, corrected the fingerboard, just finished the nut. Although it's not a real high-end classical guitar, it is the real deal. And the customer picked it up at a church sale for $5, Well, you know something? By the time he's done, he'll probably have spent $400 or $500 on getting this restoration done, but you're not going to get a solid wood top, back, and sides classical guitar with a real Spanish heel. Although that bridge was pretty horrific earlier, I did get a great contact to the top on that. Let's get in for a real close look. That's how tight we got that bridge on. And it has a real rosette, all little individual pieces of wood. So Steve is way ahead of the game on this one. I've been working on his guitars for the last 25 years, so I had a pretty good idea of what he's going to like. And I think he's going to be impressed with this. I did end up putting in position markers. This is a guy that plays Strats, Tallys, Les Pauls, and the occasional steel string acoustic. This is his first nylon string acoustic. This really is a great guitar. It is featherweight. And of course the Spaniards got that bridge in the right place. The intonation is great. You'll hear it in a second. Maybe someone else can enlighten me as to the date of this guitar. I kind of got a sneaky suspicion it's 50s anyway. Start this off by just checking the intonation of the tuning now. So we'll start with the open string and first fret notes. So the reason I'm doing this with the nylon string guitar, classical guitar, or flamenco guitar, you don't need a compensated nut. You don't get that displacement of pitch in the first position like you do with your steel string guitar. We'll try the 5th fret and its octave. 6th string, 5th fret. And its octave. Good. A string, it's the note D, 5th fret, and its octave. D string, 5th fret, and its octave. 3rd string. 2nd string. 1st string. So now we can actually hear the guitar, and that's always the real acid test, is just to play chords. So garden variety chords, first position. G. D. This is featherweight. Lots of snap. A major, A major 7th. Exact same chord note for note, but played in 2 different positions. Beautiful voice. I did end up putting some side position markers in because this is the whole classical guitar thing is pretty new to Steve. So